turned sharply to the left, ran up a grade to a plateau where the cabin, nestling at the apex of a triangular slope, looked as though it had grown there as naturally as the pine trees. It was one story, with a wide porch running across the front and one side. The rail of the porch and the pillars were of small logs from which the bark had been removed. The outside was of shakes, and the weather had aged them until the cabin blended into the green of the background and the brown pine needles of the foreground.
"Look natural?"
she asked him. He nodded. For a moment she thought he was bored, then she caught sight of his eyes. "I've thought about this place a lot," he said. "It represents something that's hard to find these days. Tranquility. How long will we be up here?"
"Not long."
"Can I help?"
"No, it's just a checking up, looking over the canned goods, seeing what needs to be done. You stay out in the sunshine and rest."
She watched him get out of the car, saving his left elbow.
"You know your way around,"
she said.
"There'll be some cold water in the spring."
She hurried on into the cabin, opening windows, airing the place out. Harley walked around the trail to the deep shadows where crystal-clear, cold water trickled out of the spring. He used the granite-ware cup to take a deep drink, then strolled out to a patch of sunlight beside a flat rock. His view took in the long slope across the deep canyon, now beginning to fill with purple shadows. There wasn't enough wind to start the faintest murmur in the tops of the pines. The sky was cloudless blue. The mountains rolled in undulating pastels except where jagged crags ripped their way into glittering pinnacles. Harley propped his head back against a pine needle cushion, half-closed his eyes, experiencing that sudden fatigue which comes to men whose reserve strength has been sapped by wounds. He felt as though the effort of moving even an arm would require a superhuman expenditure of energy. Harley opened his eyes. A fleeting expression of annoyance crossed his face. He wanted so much to have utter silence for just a few moments. Surely his watch couldn't be making that much noise. The thing seemed to be coming from the ground, right by his ear. He shifted his position and folded his coat into a pillow. The sound of the ticking was no longer audible. He was laying flat now, looking up at the lacework of pine branches traced against the blue sky. He was completely, utterly weary, wanting only to lie there, as though he were a pine needle which had drifted down to the ground to soak up oblivion. He wakened with a start, opened his eyes, caught the lines of a shapely ankle and leg, the hem of a sports skirt. Erle Blane, sitting on the rock beside him, smiled down at him with that tenderness which women have for men who are recuperating from wounds received in combat.
"Feel better?"
"Heavens, yes. What time is it?"
"Around 4.
"Gosh, I must have been asleep for a couple of hours."
"Not much over an hour, I guess. Did you go to sleep right after I left you?"
"Yes, I felt as though someone had pulled a plug in my feet and let all my vitality run out." They both laughed.
"Are you feeling better now?"
"Like $1,000,000. That nap brought back my strength. Ready to start back?"
"Uh-huh, if you are."
He raised himself to a sitting position, shook out the coat, asked, "What's the clockwork mechanism for, Erle?"
"What clockwork mechanism?"
"I don't know. It probably regulates something. You can hear it over at the corner of the rock. That's why I moved." He caught the significance of her glance and laughed outright. "Do you really think I have spells of delirium?" She joined his laughter at once, but her laughter lacked spontaneity. Slightly irritated, Harley said, "You can hear it for yourself over at that corner of the rock." She bent down, more as a courtesy than out of curiosity, quite evidently expecting to hear nothing. He was watching her face when her detachment gave way to a sudden flare of puzzled bewilderment. "That's what I meant," Harley said with dignity.
Harley, it sounds like a clock. It is a clock. It's right here."
He scooped away the pine needles, clearing a small section of earth, and disclosed the lid of a lacquered tin box which had been buried with great care in the soil. He raised the lid. Within the box, held securely upright by wooden blocks, a small-sized alarm clock was ticking steadily. It was, Harley saw, a clock made by one of the best-known manufacturers. Aside from the peculiar bracing, there seemed to be nothing unusual in its appearance. There were 2 small holes in the lacquered box. Harley consulted his watch. "It's exactly 25 minutes slow. You wouldn't